The evening streets of Edinburgh's West End were quiet, almost peaceful, but the shadows told a different story. In the heart of the city, a man was about to be torn from life in a way few could have imagined. Bradley Welsh, a former British lightweight boxing champion, actor, and respected community mentor, stepped down the narrow stairway to his flat. He had spent years building a life of discipline, giving back to his community, mentoring young people, and even appearing in T2 Trainspotting. But on this ordinary spring evening in April 2019, his reputation and visibility had made him a target. The first crack of gunfire was sudden, shattering the calm. Bradley's life ended in front of his home, a victim of a £10,000 contract killing plan by men who operated in the shadows. There was no hesitation, no second chance. What followed would leave a city stunned, a family devastated, and Scotland's criminal underworld shaken to its core. Welcome to Britain's Dark Files, the channel where we expose the hidden truths behind Britain's most shocking crimes. Tonight, we reveal the story of a man whose life of dedication and resilience ended in cold blood, and the professional killers who carried out the brutal assassination. If you want to uncover the secrets hidden behind headlines and beyond the public eye, take a moment now to like, subscribe, and share. It helps bring these stories to light. Bradley Welsh wasn't just a victim, he was a symbol of what the underworld fears most. Someone who moved between worlds, respected publicly yet connected, even indirectly, to forces willing to pay for his death. By the time he stepped outside that evening, the trap was set. The streets of Edinburgh would never feel the same again. And the story we are about to unfold will reveal how even a £10,000 contract can destroy a life, leaving behind shockwaves that reach far beyond the shadows. Bradley Welsh wasn't always in the public eye. Long before cameras followed him or young athletes looked up to him, he had carved his path through grit, discipline, and sheer resilience. A former British lightweight boxing champion, he had faced opponents in the ring who tested not just his strength, but his will. That same determination would define his life outside it, in his community, in his family, and in the work he did with young people, teaching them to fight for more than just survival. His boxing gym in Edinburgh became more than a place to train, it was a safe haven, a space where troubled youth could channel aggression into purpose, and where guidance replaced violence. Friends and neighbors admired him for transforming a personal passion into a force for good. And when he stepped into the world of acting, landing a role in T2 Trainspotting, it was yet another testament to his versatility and determination. Bradley Welsh was someone who could inspire, a man whose life symbolized hope in a city too often touched by crime. But admiration can attract attention in ways that aren't always welcome. In the shadows of Edinburgh's streets, not everyone celebrated his success. Some saw opportunity in visibility, in influence, and in the network he had built. Someone was willing to pay to remove him from the picture, a £10,000 price tag that turned a respected figure into a target. The planning was meticulous, and the people behind it knew that someone like Welsh would not fall prey to chaos or chance. He would have to be watched, tracked, and struck with precision. Even in the most ordinary moments of his life, Welsh was being observed. And as the evening of April 17th approached, the city's calm streets concealed the deadly forces preparing to close in. If you're intrigued by how one man's life intersected with calculated gangland violence. By the time he left his flat that fateful evening, the unseen eyes had made their move, and the chain of events that would shock Edinburgh was already in motion. In the underworld, nothing happens by accident. Every move is calculated, every step observed, every target studied. For Bradley Welsh, the threat came not from a rival in the ring, nor from random street crime, but from men who saw him as a problem, or an opportunity. A £10,000 contract had been agreed, turning admiration into a deadly transaction. The price tag was small, but the intent was absolute. Bradley had to be removed, and it had to be done with precision. For weeks, surveillance tracked his routines. The killers watched when he left his flat, how he moved along the stairway, and the times he would step outside to check the mailbox or walk his dog. They observed the comings and goings of neighbors, the quiet rhythm of his street, and the moments when his family was nearby. Every detail was noted. Nothing was left to chance. To them, Bradley Welsh was not a man, he was a contract, a target to be executed with ruthless efficiency. The killers were methodical. They plotted entry points, escape routes, and contingencies. The streets of Edinburgh, normally filled with the hum of everyday life, became a stage for a lethal performance. Shadows were allies. Timing was weaponized. And as the day approached, the tension escalated, an invisible grip closing around Bradley's ordinary evening. Even as Welsh continued his routine, the city's calm hit a storm. In moments like these, ordinary people remain unaware that lives are being watched, decisions made, and destinies sealed. This is the world the underworld inhabits, where contracts replace confrontation, and bullets replace negotiation. At this point, if you're intrigued by the chilling efficiency of Gangland operations, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. It helps Britain's dark files bring these hidden stories to light. By the time Bradley stepped outside that fateful evening, the stage was perfectly set, and the killers were ready to strike. The quiet of the West End was shattered in an instant. Bradley Welsh stepped onto the stairway, unaware that the men watching him had calculated every second. A figure appeared, moving with purpose, blending into the shadows. Then the gun fired, precise, ruthless, and sudden. Bradley fell before he could react, the sound of the shots echoing against the buildings. Panic erupted inside his flat as his partner and young daughter realized the horror unfolding just steps away. It was a professional hit, there was no hesitation, no confusion, no mistake. The killer had studied him, timed the exit perfectly, and ensured the bullets would find their mark. Surveillance footage later captured fleeting glimpses of a man on a bicycle, inconspicuous yet deliberate, moving in tandem with the crime. Witnesses could do little more than recount the terrifying moment, while police arrived to a scene of chaos, understanding immediately that this was not a random act. Detectives worked methodically, piecing together CCTV footage, phone records, and witness statements. The initial investigation revealed a meticulous plan. The assailant had tracked Welsh's routines, observed the comings and goings of neighbors, and chosen a moment when escape would be easiest. It became clear the killing was the result of a contract, a cold, calculated operation with ties to organized criminal networks. Even as the city absorbed the shock, investigators began to trace the chain of evidence leading to Sean Orman and his accomplices. Their methodical approach in the shadows would soon collide with the painstaking work of police, who were determined to uncover who had orchestrated the £10,000 assassination. The crime was carried out in silence, but the aftermath would expose every thread of planning. Bradley Welsh's life had been stolen in a moment, but the story was far from over. And if you're following this story to uncover the truth behind Scotland's hidden criminal operations. Justice arrived months after the streets of Edinburgh were shaken. Sean Orman, the man who pulled the trigger, and his accomplices were brought before the High Court, where the meticulous planning behind Bradley Welsh's murder was exposed in chilling detail. The prosecution painted a stark picture of a £10,000 contract killing, describing how every movement had been tracked, every routine noted, and every step orchestrated to ensure the deadly hit went off without a hitch. The court heard of the surveillance, the planning, and the moment the bullet struck, leaving a city stunned and a family shattered. Orman, known to the criminal world for his ruthlessness, received a life sentence with a minimum of 28 years before parole, while those who assisted him faced similarly lengthy terms. The judge described the killing as cowardly and meticulously planned, emphasizing the cold-blooded nature of a crime carried out for money rather than vengeance. Evidence presented, from mobile phone records to vehicle tracking, left no doubt about the premeditation, and the public watched as the men responsible were finally held accountable. But beyond the courtroom, the impact of Bradley Welsh's murder continued to ripple. The community lost a mentor and advocate, someone who had inspired change and given hope to young people in a city too often touched by violence. Friends and neighbors remembered him not for the way he died, but for the life he led, a life that stood in stark contrast to the darkness that claimed him. Gangland violence may have taken his life, but it could never erase his influence. If you've followed this story to the end, you now understand the chilling precision behind gangland killings and the hidden world that operates in the shadows of Britain's cities. Support Britain's Dark Files by liking, subscribing, and sharing to ensure these stories are never forgotten, and the truth behind Britain's darkest crimes continues to be revealed.